Today on Building Things with Ben, I'm going to show you how I made a door stand jig by modifying 4 components out of my outfeed table, and I turned it into this. Come on with me and I'll show you how I did it. The latest project that I'm working on is this hollow wood door that I'm doing for one of my subscribers. I've already cut in for the lock set and on the latch side, and the next part is I've got to start removing the material so that I can go and get the hinges in on the far side. What I'm realizing is that I don't have enough hands or a way to properly secure this door so that I can work on it to remove the material for the hinges. So today I'm going to build a jig using components of my outfeed table to be able to hold and support this door so that I can work on it safely. The next thing I have to do here is I'm going to create some wedges to keep the door in place on the jig. So I've got some old material here. It's 2 inches by 2 inches, and it's 8 inches long. I've come up 1/2 inch here, and over here I've come up 1.5 inches, so they will mirror each other. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this piece here, and I'm going to do it on my sliding compound miter saw. And I figured out that the degrees here is 7 degrees, so I'm going to set my miter saw to 7 degrees, and I'm going to cut it. The next phase of this project is I got to figure out how wide I want to make this groove. So most doors are 1 3/8 inches wide to 1 3/4 inches wide. So what I've done is I've made a mark here at 1 3/8 inches. Then I've taken the wedge that I made on the sliding compound miter saw, and I've laid it down about halfway, and I've made a mark on the far side so that this will give me some leeway when I'm putting in the door, and it should be able to hold it nice and snug. The next step here is I need to be able to cut out notches on the 4 feet that are going to help support the plywood stands. I've now got everything all cut. I've got my 2 wedges. I've got my 4 feet that I'm going to use on the bottom of these jigs. Something to keep in mind when you are building one of these is that you want to label your jigs so that you keep the same pieces together, and then that way when you're putting in the wedges and they're on the angle, it's going to work out for you. So if this was built right, it should hold my door. Let's go check it out. All right, one thing to keep in mind when you are putting the wedges in. The wedge, you have two sides on it. You have the flat side and then you have the tapered side. What you want to make sure is that you keep the flat side up against your work surface. So when you're putting it in, you put it in nice and flat and you tap that thing in and that's going to hold it really tight. But now when it's time to go and remove it, you don't want to damage the front part of your door. So what you want to be able to do here, I found an easy way. What you're going to do is you're just going to tap the plywood, and then the wedge just comes right out. And then there's no damage, and you'll be happy with the end result. So everything went together really, really well. Got the wedges put in on here, and this thing is super firm. This is really going to help me when I have to go and work on the door, either by shaving down part of the sides, or even when I start doing the hinges on the opposite side. So really pleased with the product. I think it was well worth the time. So thank you very much for watching another episode of Building Things with Ben.